have Chris Oates around the program again, constantly, just being around the guys, what does that do for you and the teammates to have that relationship continue?
It means the world. I mean, that's what this program's built on. And it's built on relationships, and it's built on continuing to build those relationships. And, you know, when players are not necessarily always in the building, whether they move on to another job after they graduate, whatever the case may be, to have them back and a part of the program, and to watch Chris's progress, you know, to see the steps that he made down in Florida and where he is now, like that, it's so encouraging for all of us. And he's an inspiration. We've highlighted that, you know, in our defensive meetings, you know, plays that, you know, pop up when you're doing overlap film or teach tapes, and you see him out there playing, and you're like, guys, understand, like this, don't ever get numb to when we break down on 22. This is what it's about. And so just continue to let the young guys that didn't necessarily know Chris, you know, when he was here, get to know him and know the personality he is and know his family. And so it's always awesome to have him around as much as he is.
Brett, we talked about how JJ last offseason was obviously coming off a major injury. Even though he played the whole year, that's still a long process. What kind of difference do you notice in him coming into this season knowing that he's fully recovered and ready to go?
You see a confidence. When you get a major injury, especially lower body, even though you're cleared to play, and obviously he was cleared to play last year, and he played the entire season, played every game, played really well for us, you're not fully yourself. We always say, especially like a knee, usually takes 16 months. And you could see it in spring, the confidence that he had in spring ball. Took the knee brace off, you know, was able to play full speed. You don't feel any hindrance, and you can see that that twitch is back, that pop he had pre-injury. He is between spring, summer, you know, first day of practice today, you see him brimming with confidence. And he's playing fast. He's communicating out there. I mean, he's a guy that's very much in control, you know, of his position right now. And that's a great thing to see, because even when he was playing at a really high level there in 2020, right before the injury, he didn't have the command of the position that he has now. So now you put that athleticism together with the command of the position, a focus and an understanding of, hey, this could be a big opportunity, a big year for me, and you know, we'll expect big things from him. And I am not gonna shy away, and he will not shy away from understanding that we need him to take that next step and be a guy. Like, he has got to be a difference maker for us on defense.
What do you like about that group of defensive backs, all adding the transfer portal? It was clearly a point of emphasis after spring.
It was, and I think we've got depth there. And, you know, obviously it was just the first day of practice, but I think there's veterans, you know, that we picked up that have played a lot of football. And you think of Kedron starting for 4 years in the SEC. Just a whole bunch of snaps. He's smart. He's savvy. How quickly he picked up our defense. And same with Zion back there at safety. I mean, so and then Jordan, his athleticism out there. Like, you feel like we feel bigger. We feel athletic back there, and we've got a mix of new guys, old guys, and the old guys have really pulled in the younger guys to get them, you know, caught up in our defense. So I feel strongly about that group. Now, do they have a lot to prove? Absolutely. And they've got a lot to prove to themselves, to the coaching staff, to everybody. But I think this group is going to do it, and I think the really nice thing about, I think, the defense as a whole, but that unit in particular, they've all checked their egos at the door. And they've got a chip on their shoulder. Listen, don't think that they didn't hear all the noise that everybody talks about. And I have a feeling, a sneaky suspicion that group's going to do a lot of good things for us this year.
Speaking of, how do you feel about your interior defensive line?
Yeah, that might be, the place that there's going to be a lot of competition in there. And there's going to have to be a lot of guys that rotate through and a lot of guys that get snaps. This is not a situation right now where, you've got a guy like Josh Pascal where you're just going to put a huge workload on him, and you're just going to let him go, and this is going to be more of a rotational group, but there's some talent in there, and as long as we can continue to build on that, keep them fresh, again, that's another position. I think we're deeper. Maybe we don't have the headliners that we've had in the past up there, but I think we can go deeper into the rotation than we've been able to in the past.
Right, you talked a lot about the secondary, but one of the new guys, Alex Avari, Mark's mentioned him a lot. What does he bring to the table early on?
Oh, I mean, to walk in as a freshman and to move with his size and his length, he's got a rare blend. And so finding ways to help him be successful early is going to be a big task, for me and the entire defensive staff, because when you get special athletes, you have to find a way to let them contribute. Just similar to how, Trevin found a niche, maybe it's not going to be, 70 snaps a game, but you have to find snaps early and often in the season. Special teams will be a big deal there as well, until they find a comfort level. Because listen, the bottom line is when you come in as a freshman, there's a lot of moving parts going real fast. And we're installing a lot of defense. They're installing a lot of offense. So things get jumbled quick. And so you got to try to narrow it down, narrow the focus, give them little pieces that the freshmen can handle. Because we do. We have a talented freshman class. The future is bright. But I think, this defensive unit has a chance to do something special because we have a good mixture of old guys and young guys, and old guys that they've checked their egos at the door and they're pulling along young guys. There's going to be a lot of competition. I don't know what that starting 11 is going to look like, come September 3rd, but we got 31 days to figure that out.
Brad, you mentioned Josh Pascal, and obviously you move on from him, but how do you replace that level of leadership that he gave you?
Well, I think in most years and in most cases, you're like, man, that would be a huge void. But then you look up, and we had our opening meeting last night as a defense, and we've got, people would argue that 2018 defense may or may not be one of the top one or two defenses in Kentucky history. Well, we got three guys that play significant snaps on that defense in Ty Asian, DeAndre Square, Jordan Wright. Like, they played significantly on that defense. And what they've done from 18, 19, 20, 21 to have guys that played on the 18 defense have started as many games as they have over 4 years. And one of the benefits of COVID, to be able to get those guys back for an extra year, you're walking in with leaders that I was counting on heavy last year, and they were great leaders, and they get another go round. And then you have Jaquez Jones, and then you bring in a guy like Kedron, and like there are a lot of guys that can lead from the front in that room. And so I don't think the void's going to be nearly, as drastic as you would think. It's not going to be this big vacuum. Where did it all go? Now, if you had lost all those guys, I think that would have been a bigger issue. But we're able to have, essentially 5 super seniors on the team, on the defense.
Brad, the UK rosters, right? It looks like a lot of the interior linemen lost. Oxendine is like 20 pounds lineman. Is that something you all encourage, and what will be the benefits of those guys being live?
Yeah, I think, Coach Ed and Coach Hill do an unbelievable job. And I think sometimes people make too much of weight. It's about strength, it's about power, and if you can generate power, then you're going to be successful. And even Josh, like when we moved Josh down, and then he tried to balloon up a little bit, and he was like, "This isn't me," and then he reined it back down, and then he played his best ball. Sometimes just weight alone is not good. It's too heavy for your legs. You can't play fast. You can't play explosive. I think guys have leaned out a little bit. They're as strong as they were at heavier weights, but I think they're more powerful. They're more explosive. Guys, have been putting up really good numbers, in the weight room. From a testing standpoint, so I'm excited about that, and it also allows you to, one, we can anchor in, but two, now those guys can move. We can have them play from an A gap to a B gap all the way out to a C. It gives you some flexibility as a play caller and a coordinator when you've got some guys that can, you're not just an anchor inside.
Aside from his weight, what have you seen from Oxendine, and what do you expect from him this year?
Obviously, another one that, from a position standpoint, a position group, he's got to be the leader in that group. And he's trained so hard to get back to the point he was when he got injured. And it's early, and you got to be smart whenever you have injuries, but he looks explosive. Like his weight is down, but he looks stronger. He's looser than he's ever been in the past. He's a guy that's brimming with confidence, and we can move him in a lot of different places. I would say this, he doesn't look anything like what he looked like in high school. And that's not a bad thing. Like he did some good things in high school, but you watch some of his tape and you're like, okay, he could play nose and he could, play some of the boundary. Right now, where he is and how he's transformed his body, he could play any one of the three up front. I'm not going to, but you could stand him up and you could play him at jack. Like he's moving that well right now.